priorities are completely misplaced. When you have 100 people protesting, police don't even have to come out. When you have 1,000 people protesting, they will be arrested. If you have 10,000 gunshots, water cannons, and arrests. If you have 100,000 people, they begin to look for the leaders to negotiate and make some transfers to them. When 1 million people protest, a helicopter flies out of the villa, or some cars smartly drive out through tunnels of the villa. Now, we still don't have our priorities right. And when I say democracy, constitutional democracy belongs to the people who have earned their freedoms. Democracy is for the United States of America. They fought, they drove away the British hundreds of years ago, War of Independence and all those. And in France, you know their history and all those. We Nigerians, Muslims, Christians, Northerners, Southerners have to all understand what democracy is, even out, clean out religion and ethnicity and make it our private things. And it is civic matters that democracy is about. We have to stop talking about Northwest, South-South, South-Central, Southeast, and all these regions. Talk about social strata, the middle class, if it exists, the classes, talk about them. How will they vote? Talk about labor, TUC, talk about security personnel, talk about farmers, talk about traders, importers. Well, those are the geopolitical zones that we should be talking about.
Hello there, good evening, and thanks for joining us on Political Lens. I am Chukwuma Okoro. Well, join the conversation by calling in or sending WhatsApp messages to the number shown on your screen. Also, feel free to ask the guests constructive questions if you have any, and I assure you that your voice will be heard. On the show today, Nigerians are asking, is Datti Baba-Ahmed calling for 1 million man protest against Tinubu? Plus, Fubara'S returned in Limbo. Oh, well, the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 general election, Datti Baba-Ahmed, has opined that Nigerians are really the problem with Nigeria, calling to question the ability of the people or inability of the people to hold the government to account. Well, speaking on a national TV, Baba-Ahmed said that if 1 million Nigerians marched to Aso Rock, a helicopter will fly out from the villa and some cars will drive through tunnels, and that will be the end of it. Well, coming at a time when Nigerians are passing through economic hardship, he said it is left for Nigerians to hold the leaders to account. Well, this call has reignited the controversies about the conversation about the value of protests in Nigeria, as many Nigerians argue that protests have not yielded any meaningful result for the citizens. And on the state of emergency in Rivers, the legal challenge seeking the reinstatement of suspended Rivers State Governor Fubara'S has now progressed to the Court of Appeal in Abuja. The appeal was filed by Abuja-based lawyer John Mary Jidobi, who wants the appellate court to rule on whether President Bola Tinubu acted unconstitutionally by suspending Fubara'S and appointing a sole administrator to govern the state. Well, Jidobi argues that the president has no constitutional power to remove or suspend an elected governor, citing multiple sections of the 1999 Constitution. Well, joining us in the studio to make sense of this is Barrister Asim Adams, a lawyer and political affairs analyst. Good evening, Barrister Adams, and thanks for joining us on Political Lens.
Good evening to you. Nigerians, good evening.
It's always good to have you.
Always a pleasure.
Intellectually engaging. Thanks for coming. We appreciate your presence.
Thank you for inviting me.
Okay, now let's get into it, Barrister. You listened to Yusuf Datti Baba-Ahmed, and he said something that is quite instructive. Now, before we get into the meat of this matter, let's clear the legal hurdles first, so that we are not said to be, inciting Nigerians.
Yes.
Now, in interrogating what Baba-Ahmed said, did he break any law by airing his opinion about the propriety or otherwise of protests? He said, if 10,000 people protest, if 10 people protest, well, police will arrest them. If 100,000 people pour into the streets, the government will look for the leaders of the protest, the organizers of the protest, and probably send out some alerts to them. Baba-Ahmed said all of that. But if he said that if 1 million Nigerians gather and protest, probably within the presence of Aso Rock, within the presence of the 3-arm zone, that a helicopter will simply take somebody out and that cars will drive out through the tunnel and that will be the end of it. Has he breached any laws in what he said? Is he inciting Nigerians to protest against the president or the ruling government?
Yeah, thank you very much. I don't think he has, breached any criminal code or any law. Freedom of expression. In law, there's what we call actus reus and the mens rea.
Okay.
These two preconditions must coalesce for a crime to be committed. The actus reus is the plan. For instance, he has said something like that, or maybe he's hatching a plan. The second one is the mens rea, which is the actual action.
Okay.
To put that plan into effect. Once these two, come together, then a crime is committed. But in this case, he has not done anything more than, airing his opinion and his view on why, Nigeria as a country has remained, where it is right from independence, as the case may be. So there's nothing wrong in what he has said. I do not see anything challenging there. He was just running a commentary, or maybe why he felt, we have not been able to, unpack, the situations that we find ourselves.
Okay, so doesn't it sound insightful? Is it not trying to incite the people? It's more like telling Nigerians, if 1 million of you gather somewhere within Abuja, something will happen. Is that not provocative? Is that not inciting?
Well, for me, I don't think there's anything provocative there or inciting there. Because when you say if, you understand, that is open and close. If we do this, if this happens, that is a conditional, statement. He never said, we are going to do this. We are going to run down this place tomorrow. We are going to make sure that XYZ leader, whoever, will run out of that place immediately right now. That would be a matter that we can say, okay, maybe it's, bringing the office of particular, office holder to awe. You understand? Because under our Criminal Code Act, if you use words that are sebic and atavistic, and the person, the words are, channeled towards, feel threatened. Okay. What the Criminal Code says is that you bring that particular office or personality to awe. That is like a judge in the High Court or a magistrate sitting in that high magisterial. Then you just come in there and say, you, my Lord, I'm going to deal with you. I feel that I'm going to mobilize people to come to this court and take you out. You have brought that particular, magistrate or, judge to awe. He begins to get afraid and begins to look over his shoulders to begin to find out if he can get cover, security cover, to ferry him to safety. But in this case, I do not think Baba-Ahmed has made a direct and decisive, statement that will warrant anybody to say that what he has said is inciting. If you look at this, there's a law against incitement. When you incite people, there's a law against it under our laws. Okay. But the ingredients to form that particular law, it has not been met by that statement. So, in my own view, I think.
Okay, so Barrister, I like the fact that you talked about the ingredients that will make a statement insightful. Yes. Are you able to tell us the ingredients involved in that?
If the person, for instance, I am sitting down here and somebody called me on the phone and say, don't come out of this hall. If you get out of this place, you are going to lose your life.
Okay.
In fact, if you come out of this place, I'll make sure that my boys will come out, and take you down and burn your building and unseat you. Direct statement to me.
Okay.
So you have incited people and you have created fear. The miasma of fear has enveloped my personality and persona. So I become so scared.
Okay, so now there's a precondition for action. If you come out, I will marshal my boys after you. So does that constitute an ingredient of? If
you come out, I'll marshal my boys after you. Yes, of course. But when we are speaking to the public, and I say, if the public come out against you, you will run. That is not, it's a general statement, in my own opinion. It's not inciting. Even the person he didn't even mention anybody's name.
Okay.
He didn't mention any particular office.
Yes.
He only said.
But he mentioned Aso Rock.
If he mentioned Aso Rock, there are staff in Aso Rock.
Okay.
It's not just the president that is seated there.
Okay.
You have people there who reside there. You understand the point? So when you say the president or the governor, then it becomes very direct.
Okay.
For instance, if the president or anybody heard or listened to that particular commentary now, he will not be saying, what is this man talking about, self? Who is he referring to?
Okay.
You understand? It's different when you say, we are going to take over government right now, and I'm going to mobilize.
Okay.
You understand?
1 million Nigerians.
1 million to take over and run up. That becomes something that you have incited. The people.
Okay.
As the case may be.
So, Barrister, does it constitute a threat? Does it look like a threat?
See, it is not a threat, in my opinion, because everybody has the right to his right of opinion. And he has said he felt bad, he felt aggrieved, as the case may be. In the UK, the United Kingdom has never, Britain has never experienced, assassination of their prime minister. It's only once that it happened. You understand? And you find that when the assassin, the reason why the assassin, came out, he had his grievances against the government. He had the grievances against the prime ministers at that time. And in putting it into action, he had to, do one or two things to kind of, carry out those particular things he was thinking in his mind. And he carried it out by shooting at the prime minister and eliminating him. You understand the point now? He put his words into use and threat. He puts the threat into direct use by killing the prime minister. But in this case, I don't see anything of that nature. It's a general. We normally call it commentary. You already commentary.
Okay. Now let's digress a little bit and now come back to the main issue of discussion. You understand what happened in Edo State the other day, where the governor of Edo State said, like, Peter Obi, don't come to Edo State.
Absolutely, yes.
Unless you have approval from me.
Yes.
Is that a threat?
It's a threat. It's a threat.
Okay.
We have seen this threat. The reason why the governor could stand up and, in that Nestorian braggadocio, because that was Nestorian. If you look at the atmosphere under which he did this, you find that it was a charged atmosphere. And he said, don't do this. It's a threat. Now, let me tell you why it is a threat and why I feel that even the governor has the premature to now say, no, I am right or correct to an extent. I'll give you, the chronicle of some of these things. For instance, quite recently, are you aware that the Bayelsa State Governor, Doyediri, told Yesewike that he cannot come to Bayelsa State? That even the man, I've forgotten the name, Joy Turner, or whatever the name is, cannot even come and do whatever a rally, for, in the state. For weekend in the state.
I recall.
And I said, nobody should enter here. That is a threat to anybody, no matter how you look at it. But that was not dealt with. That was not dealt with as at that time. People politicize it. So when you politicize a matter like that, if I become governor tomorrow, I will use that as a pedestal and a precedent for me to now begin to issue this kind of threat. You understand the point? Obi, this is not the first time they have said Obi should not enter. Benue State, the governor of that state used the same, aphorism or whatever, a metaphor phrase, as case may be. Say, don't come into Benue State if you do not want to have one or two things to happen with your security. You have to inform me, as case may be. Even, in those, about 3-4 years ago, the then Obaseki of Benin, of Edo State, told Oshomole, they cannot even enter Edo State. We saw it on television. We saw it happen. To the extent that when the former governor came to whatever Benin City, my own capital, he was attacked. His convoy was attacked. We all saw what happened. Those things were not dealt with. That is why you see a sitting governor can, get up today and can just talk the way they are. I have said this, that Nigerian government and governors, all of them act like bandits. We do respect open and close. They talk like emperors. They behave as if they are Pontius Pilate. They behave as if, they are Machiavellian. They behave like Emperor Nero, as the case may be. You understand the point? That is what they do. When you look at people like this, I describe them as this, Autolycus Siena. What we call, they are, a bold and clever, king of banditry and stealing, as the case may be. They will intimidate you because they believe they see the state as their own in their pocket.
Okay.
Whereas it is wrong.
Okay, now Barrister, what Okpebholo did, is it actionable? Can Obi go to court?
Obi can go to court, but the governor has immunity.
Is it criminal?
That's what I'm saying. It's criminal.
It's criminal. Okay,
Ordinarily, as a Nigerian citizen sitting down here, if I tell Okpebholo to come to my town, police and DSS will start looking for me. If I make a national broadcast and I say the governor of Edo State or even the local government chairman of my local government must come and take permission from me, traditional ruler, before he enter the town. Otherwise, whatever happens to him, you understand?
That should not be held accountable.
Police will look for me.
Okay. I was thinking that since it was within the purview of Obi's fundamental human right, more like a breach of his freedom of movement. So does that constitute a criminal action on the part of the governor?
I've given you an example.
Okay. That
not just Okpebholo, all the governors who have issued threat to whether Obi or Shomole etc. as case may be, these were criminal because these are threats. They didn't start today. It's just that we are profiling Okpebholo's own because it's a recent one.
Okay.
You understand? We have seen governors who have said, you can't come into my state.
And it ends there. Nothing happens.
Let me tell you, so are you aware that I think in Ekiti, where is Ayo Ekiti State? A particular, I think Amechi and his group were locked out during the election period. Are you aware? Where the sitting governor said they cannot come into the state because he feels that they want to come and influence the election, whatever the case may be. A day to the election, they were locked out. They couldn't cross the border to enter their particular state. Are you getting my point? A government did that. So when you profile things like this, you find that when government begin to act in this manner, and none of them has been taken to court or charged to court as case may be, it will spiral, it will keep going on and on. You understand? It's not going to end to the Okpebholo. You're going to see what's going to happen. So other governors who are aggrieved or who are sitting down somewhere will tell you, don't come to my state as the case may be. It has been a narrative that we've seen all this while. It's just that the person involved is P2B as the case may be. But for me, it is criminal for anybody to say, please, you cannot come to my state, etc. as the case may be. I mean, what kind of a thing is that? You understand?
Okay. Thank you very much, Barrister Adams. Now, let's go back to the issue of the 1 million man protest. Now, Baba-Ahmed recognized the constraints put on democracy by religion, ethnicity, tribal sentiments, and all of that. He started the cases of France and US, where the people were able to more like take their destiny into their hands. And if we understand the primordial sentiments in Nigeria, do you think that it will be possible at any time? I mean, considering the fault lines that we have, I've mentioned religion, I've mentioned ethnicity, I've mentioned tribal sentiments and all of that. Do you think that in the near future it will be possible for 1 million Nigerians to mass together and say, look, enough of all this brigandage, enough of all this rascality? Is it possible that it can happen in our time? Look at what happened when Buhari was in government. The North wholeheartedly supported him, while the rest of the South was crying. Now we have a Tinubu in government. And it takes, everybody, the Southwest is clearly supporting him. They don't care whether the economy is taking a nosedive or what, and the North is kicking. And so in all of this, do you think that it will get to a point, and how soon could that be, that Nigerians will, take out all these ethnic sentiments and say, look, enough of this, and gather and say, look, we want to hold this government, or we want to hold another government accountable? Will it happen in our time?
Do you know that it may happen in our time? The reason why it has not happened is because of the politics they play with it.
Politics?
Yeah, they play politics.
We're going back to it, the issue of politics.
They are playing politics with it. Let me tell you. Do you know that the issue of 1 million man march was an idea that was formulated and conceived by one, civil rights activist known as Louis Farrakhan on the 16th of October 1995. He broached the idea of 1 million man march. Louis Farrakhan is the founder and progenitor of the Nation of Islam.
The Nation of Islam, yes.
But he's a black man.
He's a black man.
But he's propagating Islam. He's a black man. But when you see that when Louis Farrakhan came out in Washington, D.C. on that day, nobody saw him as a Muslim. The blacks never saw him as a Muslim. They came out en masse, having one thread cutting through all of them, cutting across religious, ethno-religious identism, it is as case may be. They came and they said, we have a common enemy. Religion was taken aside, as the case may be. Mahatma Gandhi, the popular civil rights activist of India, I think he's a Hindu. But when he came out, the Buddhists, the Muslims, the Hindus, and all of that rallied around him, and they saw his cause, as being, watch it. He called it the salt mat, S-A-L-T. You understand? It's a different narrative. That people came around him. They never look at his ethnicity, his background, his religious background. They ferried and followed him. Are you aware that there's a man they call Nelson Mandela? It's late. He's very fresh in our memories. It's not so. Nelson Mandela belonged to a political party they call African National Congress. In African National Congress, who have Nkata Freedom Party. This is a different political party that was operating, fighting for apartheid. When Nelson Mandela came into the scene, you saw how conscious the South African people were. The Zulus, it is, even though you have skirmishes here and there, they were able to come together, unite to fight a common enemy. Because the personality that was involved happened to be that way. When the late Gani Fawemi was a Nigerian, he was in Nigeria here, and was alive. If Gani Fawemi comes out and he makes a clarion call and say, I am going to Freedom Square today, by 9 a.m. I'll be there. Nigerians from all walk of life will go with him and be with him. They'll be waiting for him to come because they don't want to know whether he's a lawyer, he's a Yoruba man, it's a whatever his case may be. They know that he has the interest and consciousness of the common people in his heart and at heart. So he now asks you the reason why we have this, because politics is being played with this. That's number one. Number two is that for the nations I have talked about, they have never talked about hunger. You see, hunger is a disuniting factor. Hunger can keep a man in captivity for the rest of his life if you don't have a source of livelihood, a source of feeding. Now, if you call many Nigerians out to come and demonstrate tomorrow, the first thing they are going to be looking at is that some of them have not even eaten since morning. Some, slept in a very bad, dilapidated condition. Some are sick. They don't even know where to go to. Even those, they will look and say, even those calling us to come and protest, maybe government has given them money, or maybe international body has given them money. They'll be looking at the demand to share monies for them, to feed themselves first, before they can do that much. So that has become something like that. Then you look at this thing. The question I have asked Nigerians, because when you keep peddling ethno-religious irredentism, I want to ask a question. There is a particular thing we eat on every day on Nigerians, it is suya. Do you ask, if you look at 80% of those who are whatever case may be, are from the northern part of Nigeria, if I'm not mistaken. But an Igbo man goes to the Aboki and says, Aboki, give me suya 1,000. A Yoruba man goes there. A man from the south side goes there. It's the same thing. When we go to our market, nobody asks each other, where are you from? I buy tomatoes from you. I need tomatoes I buy because there's a uniting force that has brought me there. We don't ask this question. Why is it that when we want to begin to talk about politics, we now begin to talk about where you come from, what religion you belong? It tells you that the Stockholm syndrome is real. And it tells you that those people who call themselves political leaders are the ones who are using the British method of divide and rule. That is why you see the Nigerian police or any security agency, let me just put everything together. Even as they stop on the road and they are collecting whatever they are collecting, they never ask you, are you an Igbo man or Hausa man? They collect the 50 naira from you and you go your way. It's the same thing when armed robbers meet. You see an Igbo armed robber, Yoruba, all meeting together to commit one crime.
Okay.
Why are they not quarreling? But when it comes to politics, you need to say we are good. Who told you that?
All right.
That is the question I ask myself.
Okay. Now, Barrister, before we travel too far,
yes.
I like the fact that you brought us to the point where you say that, look, hunger has been weaponized.
Yes.
And I always ask this question, and let me ask you this question now. The kind of hunger that we see in Nigeria, is it different from the kind of hunger that happens in other parts of the world? Let's go back in history. The Russian Revolution was driven by what? Hunger, absence of bread, lack of bread. The French Revolution was driven by what? By hunger. If you look at, while we are not calling for a revolution in Nigeria, we are interrogating whether hunger is more like a prompter, whether hunger prompts people to action. But we have discovered that in Nigeria, we are always say that hunger has been used to weaponize Nigerians, the Nigerian masses, that, well, simply because they are hungry, they cannot come together and fight a common cause. So the kind of hunger that happens in Nigeria, is it different from the kind of hunger that drives protests in other parts of the world? Look at what happened in Tunisia. Mohamed Bouazizi, he had to douse himself with fuel, immolated, and that was what sparked the Arab Spring. So in Nigeria, when people are hungry, more like they have some sense of surrender. Well, the government can treat us anyhow, so long as I have a 5,000 naira to feed myself and my family. Barrister, the kind of hunger we experience, is it different from other hungers?
See,
what is the sociological, the underpinning, constraints that will not allow Nigerians to say, look, enough of this rascality?
Okay, let me give you a direct answer to this. All the revolutions you have mentioned happened in the 19th or 18th century or thereabout. Okay. 18th century, 19th century. Is it not so? The 20th century.
The Romanian Revolution happened recently.
When was that?
In 1989.
In 1989.
Yes.
That is the 19th century.
Okay, how about the Arab Spring? The
Arab Spring, let's say it happened. Now, let me tell you why those ones gathered momentum and verve.
Okay.
The people who led those revolutions, how did it start? The man in the Tunisian Arab Spring that started was a man who immolated himself by way of immolation. And some youths with conscience came out and started down themselves. And what now happened? They now spread all over Arab. Now, in Nigeria here, if you look at revolutions that have succeeded, why you see our own fail is because of the fact that the man calling for 1 million man march, that you check, all his children are in USA. Fidel Castro's children were in Cuba. Nelson Mandela's family, they were in South Africa. Mahatma Gandhi's family, they were in India. You understand? Martin Luther King's family, they were in America, as the case may be. Gadifa Emi's family were in Nigeria here. You think we don't have sense? That you see a bourgeois will come out and tell you that we are going to call a 1 million man march. But when you cross-examine and you look at that man and periscope him, you find that he is a bourgeois oppressing you. But because he has lost out of the game, he is not coming to use you. That is why our own is not going very well. Because those who have said this a number of times, for those who are activists who are in the forefront of doing these things, when we want to look at them and say, oh boy, where is it? These people's children are not even in Nigeria here. You see them hopping up. Once you hear any gunshot, they are in America. So how do I follow that kind of a mind that I have my children here? When the man is coming out to fight, and I see that, oh, this man, Aminu Kano, children were in Nigeria here. He did not amass wealth. Aminu Kano could walk on the street of Kano without police escort. But this man calling for whatever, we have about 10 policemen following him with siren. He come and address you because he has lost power.
Okay, so essentially Nigerians are not blind to...
They are not blind to all these things.
Barrister, does it look like it's a class struggle between the haves and the have-nots?
It's a class struggle. It is a class, not just a class struggle, it's a class battering. A class has battered and will continuously batter the other class until God knows where.
Unfortunately, there is no middle class to drive this kind of...
The middle class has been, extinguished. The middle class has been lobotomized. The middle class has been harangued. The middle class has been exorcised by those people who are exorcists, who are the bourgeoisie exorcists. Let me tell you, I want to give you a little story. Are you aware that if a big man was to be coming to your studio today, and you just announce that you are hosting one Mr. whatever chief, this, outside of your gate, you're going to see about 10 people who are hungry waiting for him. Because they know if he's coming out, they hear my chairman, he gives them 5,000, they go and share. You understand? So we see these people as, one of them. The problem we have today in Nigeria is that, hunger has become a weapon. Yes, I know that. But the big people unite and fight and use the poor to achieve, power whenever they lose out. But when the poor people lose out, the big people can never unite to help the
Now, Barrister, before we go to Rivers State, From what you understand about this government so far for the past 2 years, talking about the free space, the human rights and quotient and all of that, do you think that this government, despite all odds, I mean, if we're able to decimate all the odds, talking about tribal sentiments, talking about religious sentiments, do you think that this government will fold its arms and allow 1 million Nigerians to amass somewhere in Abuja to take it out?
There's no government in the world. In America, the cradle of civilization, cradle of democracy, the Black Lives Matters, how many lives were lost after the man was killed?
Okay.
That is the citadel of democracy also and rule of law. So there's no government that's going to fold his arm and see people run up and down, even when they are doing peaceful whatever. Okay. The police following them, the government has sent them to track them. You understand the point now? And anything can happen. So the government of the day will not sit. Let's be very realistic with our whatever.
Okay.
The government of the day will never sit down and allow you to come and plunder what they have put together that they think is going well for them. Because the people that are complaining today are the poor people. Okay,
but Barrister, how has this government handled protest? Because we saw a group of people come together somewhere in Ojota, Lagos, you know, that was in 2011 or 2012 to protest about fuel subsidy. And their mantra at that time, the slogan was Occupy Nigeria, Occupy Nigeria. Interpretively, what does Occupy Nigeria mean? Wasn't it some form of, calling for a regime change? Was it? That
was a call for a regime change.
Okay, so do you think that kind of thing can happen in this present
The kind of thing also can happen, but right now, those who the proponents of the regime change at that time are the ones who are in power today.
Okay.
Or some of them are in power today. I don't know if you understand.
I do.
They know the tricks. So they will not allow that.
So they won't allow it to happen.
They will not allow it to happen.
So what does that speak about the free space in Nigeria? It
tells you that the bourgeois and plutocrats are the ones ruling Nigeria. If they want peace, they can come together and say there'll be peace. If they don't want peace, so you can see what's happening all over the country now. Who are those making the noise today? I don't know the big people that say that 2027 must take him out.
Barrister, hold on to your line of thought. We have a caller coming in. Can we have his call? Please, good evening and thanks for calling in. Your name and where you are calling from. Quick one, 1 minute.
I am Engineer calling from Lagos. I want to really thank your barrister. He's really on point. Is really on point. But one thing I want us to look at, just a very good example, is look at the Enugu disco that reduced their band 8 tariff and other gencos and discos and sent over their dead body. And the government are quiet. The government is quiet about it. So I don't know the kind of government and the society we run, and everybody is quiet. Instead of the poor masses to come out and protest, saying no, we cannot be used and misused and even abused by this Tinubu government. It's quite a sad thing that the masses have been whipped by poverty into Waterloo. So well, I totally concur with the barrister, and I say may God help Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Edna. Thanks for calling in. In as much as we are holding this discussion, this station, we are not calling for violent protest.
Absolutely,
we are just asking Nigerians to hold their leaders to account. Thank you very much, Edna, for calling in. We appreciate your call. Now, Barrister, land on your talk before we go to reverse.
The thing is, let me tell you this: the day a revolution will happen in Nigeria.
Well, what kind of revolution? Physical or mental revolution?
People think that revolution is by destroy. The only way you want to do revolution is by burning things. No.
Okay.
You understand?
So essentially, you are not calling for violence.
It's not violence.
Okay.
You know there was a revolution in the telecom industry.
Okay.
That was brought in that will now have our GSM.
Like we had the agricultural revolution.
You understand? We have cultural. We understand. These are revolutions. Violent revolutions do happen, but we are not asking for, because violent revolutions. I told the guy, I said, you are a lawyer, he said yes. You have a house, he said yes. You have a car, you can train your kids in school in this hard economy, he said yes. And you are saying you want revolution. If violent revolution happen, even you and I, we are not safe. Because those people who are below, the proletariats, will see us as the oppressors. That is why, have you not asked yourself, when there is a civil unrest in any city of Nigeria, you drive your car, whether it's government car, they will break the car and burn it. But you are not part of government. If you are not very careful, you lose your life.
So that's a test of what might happen.
So which means that
things unravel.
It's not just those in government. It's not just those you see, because they will run away.
If you are well dressed, you become a target.
I told one guy, I said, if you have a phone or any item that somebody can steal from you, it means you are a big man. If you have a phone and you have, maybe the person look at this, it's a thing of value. And because of that, it stalk you, to track you to your house and collect it from you, it means that you are a man of substance and you have a valuable thing with you. Okay. And when revolution starts, you see, when they look for the big people, they don't see them, they'll go to the conurbations and be to look for those people with this kind of little weight, even struggling on their own.
Right, well, now, Barrister, let's go to Rivers State. Still on the powers of the president to declare state of emergency. Does that include the power to remove a governor? Let's have your quick take on that.
It doesn't, in my own opinion. I've said that a number of times.
Do you have any legal...
See, that is the problem we are having. I said my own legal opinion. It doesn't. But the problem we are having is that we can sit down here and talk. Lawyers, I've seen lawyers who have written copiously and studiously on the president's whatever illegality. Who told you it's illegal? Until the court pronounce it illegal. Is it not so?
Okay.
It is the nature of our constitution and our laws. The constitution says section 36(5) says every man, accused of an offense or whatever, is remained innocent until he's proven guilty. Mm-hmm. So even if I see somebody in my own full glare, camera captured him that he has stole my phone, I will not capture him. Police cannot even take him to court immediately and send him to jail. That presumption of innocence, you understand the point? Guides us. If we even lynch him, the court will say, did you take him to court to go and say he stole? Or that we have pictures say, but it does not give you the authority to maybe, lynch him. You understand the point? It's the same thing happening here. So we can make all our postulations, our commentaries on illegality. Yes, in my opinion, I think he does not have it. But if you look at the surface of 305, as the case may be, I have said this, that if the president has the right to declare state of emergency, and he has to do a note or a memoir to the National Assembly, what is the memoir? So which means, because he didn't state the kind of memoir it should be there, and that is the memoir they now say, governor suspended, this one happened.
It's not a constitution, it's a lacuna.
It's a lacuna. Two, I have said this number of times again, that people should stop blaming President Tinubu or any president at all. Blame the National Assembly. If truly we were to be operating, that Baron, Stanley Montesquieu did not waste his time on the three arms of government and separation of powers. If truly we are operating that wouldn't have been allowed by the National Assembly.
Barrister, does that lacuna give the president the prerogative to, does it give him the freedom to act the way he likes?
Mischief interpretation of the law. A lot of lawyers operate through the mischief interpretation of the law.
Okay, because his attorney general is going to give it an interpretation that suits him.
Let me tell you, have you read this book by Shakespeare, William Shakespeare? It's a team play, Henry VI. You understand? Yes. There is one character they call Dick the Butcher. Dick the Butcher. It's a character. He was a rebel in that particular whatever. Act 1, scene 2, or whatever his case may be. He came up and said, when they asked, he said, I think the first thing we have to do is to kill all the lawyers. You understand? He said the first thing, that is then, he said, I think the first thing we have to do is to kill all the lawyers. Then I asked him, how will you kill the lawyers? He said, because of the fact that for every corrupt system, the lawyers aid it. That if you look at what is going on, lawyers are friends to both the thieves and those victims. In politics in Nigeria today, so the president of Nigeria has senior advocates who are his friends. The governor of Rivers State has senior advocates who are his friends. Is it not so? They know the law, but they will tell him a different thing, as the case may be. So that is why Dick the Butcher was saying, let's kill all the lawyers. Because he said corruption and also power-drunk, corruption, flows in the blood of some lawyers. Also in Nigeria here, as case may be. Are you aware? President has lawyers. He has the AG. Even when C was operating with four members of the House of Assembly, they were saying, go on, come on, carry on. You can carry on. He had lawyers.
So Barrister, it's not a typical Nigerian thing, that because Nigerians have accused, like Dick the Butcher accused the lawyers. Right. Nigerians have always accused lawyers. So it's not a Nigerian thing.
No, it's been there.
It's been there all along.
It has been there.
Okay.
Let me tell you, that is why I'm telling you that.
So how does that make you feel, knowing that you're a lawyer? No. And that you are one of the problems of this country?
I'm not. You know why? He never said all the lawyers.
Okay.
He said Dick the Butcher never said, he said, let's kill all the lawyers so that we will have a whatever. They're not asking why. He said, if you look at some of the lawyers are the people advising the king.
Okay.
Some of the lawyers are the people advising the rebels like myself.
Okay.
On what to do and escape.
Okay, so you're on the other
so
side.
You can be on this and this side.
Now,
so we're on this side, but there are some lawyers
lawyer.
who are also not part of the game.
Okay.
Who say it the way it should be.
Okay.
So the court is the arbiter by virtue of Section 6 of the Constitution that would have solved all these problems.
Coincidentally, the judges are lawyers.
There is no
Judges
judgment.
are lawyers
Do you
too.
know that there is no judgment till today that has said that actions of the president or Obasanjo, etc., as case may be, is a nullity as at that time. So which president do we have?
Okay.
So this is been
Okay,
a problem.
now, barrister, a certain lawyer, John Mary Jidobi, has gone to court, to say, look, he's on appeal now, which means
He lost.
he lost
Okay.
at the High Court. So he's on appeal now. Do you think that something meaningful will come out of this appeal?
Nothing, in my own opinion, nothing, I doubt. Let me not just generalize. I wish I was able to see notice of appeal and maybe grants of appeal TC in his whatever. As I would have been able to say, do a conjectural, analysis as case may be.
Okay.
But I'm not seeing it. I don't know the grounds of that which is raising. But in my own little way of thinking and seeing things happen, I am saying that is an exercise in futility. It's a BID, brought in dead, as the case may be, because a lot of the people in the appeal or judicature, some of them will be shying away or if not afraid to give a contrary judgment that will stir, another political holocaust or sirocco.
Okay.
So they'll be very careful. You understand? Because there's a book they call Judgment and Judgment Writing. You see how judges operate and give their judgments. They are human beings like you and I.
Okay.
They have support secretly inside their heart. Some of them love political parties. Some of them hate presidents. Some inside their heart they cannot express it. That is just the only difference they have. So as the case may be, I hope that the Court of Appeal will live up to its expectation and probably the Supreme Court live up to its expectation like they did on February 18. That expectation that the Supreme Court did on February 18 in Rivers case was this. A lot of people were talking about Section 109 sub 1. That the moment you leave, you defect to APC or PDP, you lose your seat. Supreme Court now came and decided that matter, February 18. So there's
what was the decision of the Supreme Court?
I'm just the one that interests me is what I want to say now. So there's another proviso now that you have to meet. And that proviso is that the moment I defer from PDP to APC, I must go and register with APC. And I must have to my name must be in the register.
Okay.
Then I must have to have a card, waiving it as evidence that I am a member of this particular party. And the national chairman will now hold whatever they call and bring me down. So as the case may be, if those ones are not there, that means that even if I defect my whatever now, if all these things are not present, it will not happen. And the Supreme Court said, waving a flag in the social media and sitting down and holding press conference I've left does not constitute defection.
Okay.
So you put that's another one we've added.
We are questioning
that's jurisprudence.
Let's go to the meat of the matter, which is the return of Sim Fubara. After the peace deal, Nigerians were expecting, a lot of us were expecting that 1 day, 2 days, 1 week, that the president will say, well, now, since the conditions that gave rise to the crisis in Rivers State have been settled, the factors that led to the crisis have been settled, and peace is returned to Rivers State. Well, Governor Sim Fubara, go back to office. Barrister, is more than 1 month, and we haven't heard that. And Fubara's return is in limbo. What do you think?
Expectations. Let me tell you. The reason today why many men, you can see many world presidents all over the world can come up and beat their chest. Some politicians will tell you 2027, when I want to contest to become governor or president of Nigeria, they talk in vacuum just like that. But when they go back, they now say, you should say he go reach that 2027 because God kept something that is hidden under, which is death. That is, it's a mystery to a lot of people. So people are now looking at God. That is the only reason why they fear God today. If you remove death, a lot of people will not look at God. They even want to go and see God where he is. You understand the point? The same thing the people who are ruling us, do. They know what to do. They know how to hold their followers captive. They know how to balance the equation in Nigeria here and keep you in suspense.
Okay.
And that is what they are doing now.
Okay.
Now, they have emasculated the main man, who is the governor. The man has come to say he is ready for peace. Just like Mahatma Gandhi said that the most disadvantageous of peace, is better than a just war. So he has accepted his fate and said, whatever it takes, I'm going to do that. But politicians work. And I know that many politicians and political leaders have read, these books, 48 Laws of Powers by Robert Greene, and some have read Niccolo Machiavelli's, The Prince. The book, The Prince. So, and if you look at these broken books, you find that at the end of the day, if you read it very well, you are a good politician, as case may be. So, we are expecting, we cannot force them to do what they want to say. They said it's 6 months in the initial time. Under the law, they say the president can lift it and can still extend it. So we are still waiting. He may decide to lift it, next time. But I believe that what the president is thinking about that is far more than what is that emergency, whatever.
Okay, so what do you think that the president is thinking about?
Coalition.
Okay, the coalition.
Of course, no president will sit back and watch. Even Jonathan, when that coalition took place, never sat back.
Okay.
He fought. Jonathan fought to retain power. But when he got to the nitty-gritty, he only surrendered and said, no, I don't want to do this because the blood. If he didn't think that way, he would have torpedoed what happened that period. Okay. He had the power to do that. So, but he didn't relent. I remember the breath of fresh air and all these things campaign was so visible. So the president at this point in time might not be thinking about the River State. He wants to see what happens now, because the way I'm seeing this thing is coming like a sirocco. It's like Hurricane Katrina. What do we do to forestall, to shop or whatever? So he's going to be working on. That is what is going to take him.
But a lot of people think that that Fubara'S return is in limbo because he actually wants to completely capture River State. Now, is there anything wrong? Is it proper for the sole administrator to conduct local government elections in River State?
Let me tell you what has happened here. A lot of people do not understand. And I want to say with due respect that what happened in River State, though it might be unconstitutional, legal experts have said it was a doctrine of necessity that the president employed. And in universal acceptance, legal acceptance, a doctrine of necessity is a mantra that is used legally in any system, political system in the whole world. What does that mean?
Solve political problems.
And exigent political issues that are beyond the constitution or whatever. Okay. And that is what does that mean is that what is otherwise illegal has been made legal by necessity. Okay. So what is happening in River State now is an illegal contract, as they say, but by way of the principle.
A lot of people will disagree with that position because worse conditions have happened elsewhere. And I mean, it was the same mantra that Fubara'S operated, that he allowed for people in the House of Assembly. He went to I'm talking about the conditions. The conditions precedent to a declaration of state of emergency, which is that there is a likelihood of the breakdown of law and order.
What is breakdown?
Or that there is actually a breakdown of law and order.
See, when they say it gives the president that what's it called? How would I put it now? Decision making.
Discretion. There is complete breakdown of law and order.
No,
in Benue State, in Plateau State, in Borno State.
There is nothing like complete breakdown of law and order. Breakdown of law and order is breakdown of law and order. It's just like when you say true democracy. What is true democracy? What is true federalism? Federalism is federalism. So when you, for instance, those lawyers who are listening will say, bail conditions, say the judge has the discretion.
But okay, Barrister, we are almost out of time. Yes. I would like for you to talk about the propriety or otherwise of the sole administrator conducting local government elections.
That is the mandate given to him by the president under the state of emergency. A law that was enacted. It's a law because the two Houses of Assembly came together and made it a law. Do you understand the point now? Are they not the ones doing budget for River State? Even though we say it's illegal.
Was the conduct of local government elections part of it?
That is what I'm saying. He said, if you look at the notes that was dropped, the president, even in the time he was inaugurating the man, said, do not make any law.
Except,
you understand the point? Okay. Except you come to me. So if he has said, I want to conduct a local government election, he must have contacted the person Who gave him the authority?
A lot of people think that for the sole administrator to conduct local government elections, that it's a clear way of trying to take out the power to control the structure, the political structure of River State from Fubara.
It is, see.
So that even if he makes an attempt to contest in 2027, he wouldn't have a political base.
It's left to anybody to want to decide or think that way. In 1983, we did democracy from 77 to 79 to 83. 83, a new narrative came into space and distorted the flow. Today, are we not still practicing democracy? So if we see this kind of thing happen, don't think it's not going to happen again or it's just one off. No, I don't think so. It happened in 2014 during Obasanjo time. We thought it would not happen again, but it happened this time.
Okay, oh well.
So it's left, you see why this thing is like this? Because it's left at the discretion of the person prescribing and giving.
Okay.
And when you leave a thing in my discretion is I want to leave you at any time. You can't force me until I want to leave now. I say, you give me that discretion, but it's later you're ready to go, let me know. I will sit down, go down, move around, maybe around 12 I'll tell you, I want to go. Then okay. You now say it's late.
All right, Barrister, this would be a good place to end this conversation. Yes. And I hope that this particular topic, because we've not exhausted it, we might have to talk about it some other time. It's a long one,
yes.
All right, thank you very much. We appreciate your presence.
Thank you very much.
All right, and okay, now this is where we end this conversation. Many thanks to you, Barrister Asim Adan, for coming to Political Lens. We appreciate your presence. Now, on behalf of the backroom staff, Technical Director, the Bus Manager, Sound Engineer, and the Ingest Manager, I am Chukwuma Okoro. And up next is Issues with Jerry Apollo High. Stay with us and don't go away, and enjoy the rest of your evening.